Okay, I know. Little Mermaid? Really? Well, maybe knowing that the original story is over 200 years old and quite a bit different from the Disney version we'll be covering today will save your intellectual ego. So, if the original story is different, then why are we going with the Disney version? Well, that's because stories evolve. And I believe that the reason stories evolve is because they change to fit messages that register better subconsciously with an audience. However, I will give a brief background of the original story before I jump into what we'll be covering today. The original story was written in 1837 in Denmark by Hans Christian Andersen, a very prolific writer of modern fairy tales, including The Ugly Duckling, Thumbelina, and The Princess and the Pea, just to name a few. The story gained popularity in his native land of Denmark, and a statue was built commemorating the story in 1913. The basic story starts out the same in both the novel and the modern movie. A young mermaid wants to explore the world outside of the ocean. In the novel, mermaids can live 300 years while humans can only live 60. However, humans have a soul that allows them to live forever, and mermaids don't. Also in both stories is a merking and Ariel, later named in the Disney version, but in the novel she has a controlling grandmother as well. There's a tradition that when mermaids turn 15, they're allowed to swim up to the surface to visualize the world above. And as Ariel does this, she sees the prince on a ship and quickly falls in love with him. Of course, she is forbidden to go, and in both versions, she seeks out a sea witch who grants her the ability to be human in exchange for her voice. In the novel, she gains the ability to dance better than anybody, but every single step feels like she's walking on needles. Not quite the Disney version. So the prince finds her naked on the shore and is enamored by her beauty, but he doesn't fall in love with her. He instead falls in love with another princess, and Ariel's sisters are forced to trade their beautiful hair for a dagger so that Ariel can kill the prince. This is the only way that she can escape her fate. However, when she gets the opportunity to kill the prince, she can't bear to do it, and instead, she takes her own life. However, because she refused to do the unthinkable, after a period of 300 years in a purgatory type state, she will be able to go to heaven. She's granted a soul. Ain't that fun? And now I'm going to be going into the best known version of the story and not narrating nearly as much aside from the philosophy because most of us tend to know it. If not, watch the movie. The first thing I find really interesting and common in stories is this vast, unknown place that all the danger, adventure, and growth tends to happen. In stories like The Hobbit or The Hunchback of Notre Dame, this exploration happens in either a forest or an old cathedral-like building. I've pondered this for a long time, and I've come to believe that these seemingly labyrinthine places tend to represent the unknown or our subconscious mind. How these things can be dangerous, but if explored, also extremely rewarding. How they are so vast and unknown, and how the hero has to explore the vast unknown for any growth to happen. Once again, we have very archetypal roles for order and chaos, and order isn't always good, and chaos isn't always bad. King Triton becomes a tyrant because of his fear of chaos. And he doesn't explain that he is tyrannical because he's established this order to keep himself and his loved ones safe. Ariel represents chaos, and chaos challenges order, and if the order is flawed, it can create a new order. So she swims to the top of the ocean. This is symbolic for exploring the subconscious mind, stepping out into the depths of the unknown to discover meaning. Now, Ursula, the witch, represents chaos in its negative form. She's embraced chaos to the point where she completely sets herself up against anything that even remotely resembles order. She's the exact opposite of the tyrannical king. She's become a tyrant not through her adherence to order, but by her predilection for chaos. The yin and yang symbol very much represent order and chaos, and the white dot and the black dot on either side represent that no one should be fully in one or the other, but should be partially walking in both in order to live a balanced life, because either of the two can bring something better. Ariel pursues her dream and ultimately unites the world below with the one above. This isn't bad, and although she delved into chaos, she had a healthy respect for order. And through the exploration of chaos, a better order is established. So my challenge to you is not to be a King Triton or an Ursula, but an Ariel. Don't get so comfortable that you don't look for something better. Don't be afraid to confront what's scary to discover meaning in your life. This one was extremely short, but I do have some really fun projects coming up. I'm working on a Twilight video and how there's sexual symbolism in it and stories like it. I'm also going to be starting a series where I delve into Jordan Peterson's map of meaning. So if any of these projects sound interesting to you, make sure to subscribe to stay tuned for my weekly content. And if you enjoyed the video, do smash that like button for the YouTube algorithm. Thank you and have a great day.